In a conversation by really asking where did it all begin, because everyone likes a good story. And Pernia, let me kick off with you, because I remember you said that you studied something different, you came back, you tried a few things, and you got into this by chance, by discovering a need in the market.
Yes. I think it was really a personal need, to be honest. That's where the idea came from because I was in college in the US. In the US in 2008, in those years, 2006, 2008, when I went to college, online shopping was already a complete norm. Everyone was buying their bread online. You had spring break, you were ordering bikinis online. You wanted a cookie, campus snack was, you ordered cookies online and campus snack would drop it off to you. So like, it was just so normal. So after like 4 years of just doing this constantly, I came back here and I was like, oh, but I need this. And I'm like, now I have to like get into a car, go drive, get somewhere. And I was like, why don't we have online shopping in India? It's so strange because like in the US and the UK and stuff, it's just so normal. So I thought, okay, this is a good place to start. I had already done a stint at Harper's Bazaar, just launched in India. I was a stylist there, and I had already done a film called Aisha with Sonam, and I was in the like I had the mindset that I think I want to do something on my own now, but I'm not sure what. And then I felt like there's a gap. Like if I feel like I'm a client that needs that, there's so many people who would be like me, you know. So that's where it started from. Okay. Really a personal need, I think.
And just so that, to bring everyone up to speed, but you did have an exit at Panya's
I
Pop-Up
did, yes,
ago. Tell
yes.
us a little about that and how it came about.
So I think what happened with the exit was, so everything I've done, I've kind of broadly done with a plan that at some point I'm going to be done. I'm not going to be like Pernia and Daughters, which is going to go on for generations. Like that's really not I'm saying daughters because I have a daughter. Like that's not my personality, or that's not my vision for the kind of work I want to do. And there are people who do it, and I think it's wonderful. People run, like we were talking about, especially like jewelers. People run companies for generations, and it has legacy, it has history, and I can appreciate that so much because I love history, and that's amazing. But it's just not me, and I think the worst thing you can do is try and do something which is not you. So I always had a plan that whatever I do has to finish. And I think that like in my soul, I'm an artist, I'm a performer, I'm a trained dancer, and I like preparing for something, doing a good job at it, and finishing it, and then the next. What's the next performance? What's the next production? So this is the mindset that I have from a very young age. I'm very good project to project. But you tell me something for life, and I just want to like, I get really scared. I think I have commitment issues. so anyway, I just that was the idea. It was always there, and I think I did one whole year of meeting investors. I have met everybody. I've met from the biggest to the smallest family offices to the biggest players in the market. I've met everyone. Some were not interested. Some thought it was too soon. Some people I didn't like. And then eventually we came down to selling it. But it was good. I think it was growing really big, and I genuinely felt like this is way bigger than me now. And it needed to go into hands where it could really just blow out of, blow out of the park, and I think it has, which is great. Yeah.
And I love that they've kept the name. Yeah. So kudos.
No, I thought was trying to convince them to drop my name because you're going to give me all the marketing. Yeah. And they thought I was trying to pull a fast one. So they said, no, we're going to keep the name. I said, okay. So now it's like I'm world famous. And it's not even putting my own money behind it, which is great.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, Avni, let's get you in. Now, I remember I interviewed you about 10 years ago at Bloomberg. Both you and Ashni, we were at Cafe Zoe, and I remember, and
Now I remember.
The show was called The Date, by the way. It was three of us girls, right? And we were having a meal and chatting. And I remember even then how passionate you were about, bringing a lot of different avenues for retail shoppers in the food space to be able to consume in India, and also curating, sourcing, all kinds of interesting things. You're taking that passion forward now with Food Stories. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so we recently launched Food Stories in Delhi. It's been launched as a seamless commerce platform. We did feel that I was on a study tour to Hyderabad recently because that's our next location, and I visited a bunch of places, and I realized, we've been noticing that post COVID there was a big shift in the market, and what we did 10, 12 years ago with Food Hall sort of also.
Yeah, I'm gonna pause you there to also remind everyone of the fact that you actually are the one,
Yeah.
The force behind
Yeah.
Food Hall. It was Avni's vision actually that
Yeah.
brought it to the
So
market.
I
Yeah.
think fundamentally I've been wired for change, from a very young age. Like when you ask Pernia when it all began, I think for me it began when I was maybe 4 or 5 on a shop floor. So, retail is all I've known, customers is all I've known. I spent my Sundays at the age of 6 to 8, being on a shop floor looking at customers. I still spend my Sundays doing that. So I have like no qualms in saying it. It makes me very, very happy. So I think COVID came, and the group was undergoing a lot of changes, and we started understanding the digital space a lot more. We fundamentally, inherently, also had this belief that everything will happen in a newer form. It's not going to happen in their old form. Retail needed to evolve. If you think about it, retail has not evolved in over 100 years. Retail has been one of the oldest professions, and every time they say a dominant media changes, the form of interaction with the consumer, like the form of interaction between the consumer and the person changes. And I think COVID propelled the change much, much more quickly. We saw a lot of new D2C brands coming up. We saw a lot of producers coming in. We saw a lot of, noise for local this time around. And we fundamentally also felt that luxury and gourmet food retail needs a bit of a shift. I also think that, today when you think about food and you think about grocery retail, you need to think about the quick commerce players out there because they're doing a lot with it. And everyone's going after the same customer because, very easy, if anybody is in the digital business, you realize very early on, especially if you want to build anything with any remote size and scale with a certain AOV where your unit economics matter, that you'll go to the top 10% of India. You won't go to the bottom 90% because you really won't be able to build something that's going to be very, very profitable unless you have crazy money to burn. So, and Food Hall was anyway the business that we had created for the top 3% of India. So when we thought about creating Food Stories, we realized that there was a need to, solve a very different need for a customer this time around. I think the whole thing about customers wanting to travel and, customers wanting to try out different cuisines, I think all of that was done. We had already ridden that wave before and we'd done that. And we believe fundamentally right now that it's our job to be storytellers. It's our job to, bring stories from all around the world and all around India in the shape of various farmers, producers, growers, to the customer's table. And really enjoy telling these stories, So which is why we say that Food Stories is it's not an online platform or a store platform, it's a seamless commerce platform. Obviously, because we understand retail in a very different way, and we understand the consumer in a different way. We we build stores with a lot of experience. We build stores with a lot of thought, a lot of meaning. We spend a lot of time thinking about how a customer will walk through a store. We spend the same amount of time thinking about what the customer journey will be online. But I think fundamentally, the role at Food Stories this time is to really tell very interesting stories, is to build it's to be a two-way dialogue with the customer where they can tell their stories and we can tell ours, and we can together create something beautiful, hopefully. So that's the endeavor.
Did you also have a challenge in kicking off again in terms of finding people to back it, or in terms of just garnering the gumption to go at it again?
So I think we got very lucky with the backing because, we got one family office that said, we want to back anything that you do. And, I think they had a very proven track record and they've really supported us. So we had one family office that came and told Ashni and me that, we're going to back your entire venture. And, we're building out 2 brands in this currently, which is Sorrentina and Food Stories. So I don't think the backing or the investors were a challenge. Managing the investors is a whole different story. So, maybe that's a topic for another day. But yeah, starting again has been tough. We're also looking at fundamentally, we're looking at a new medium because, it is no longer physical alone. It is physical and digital together. And, it's always about, so for us, WhatsApp commerce plays a very very big role. The customer can be sitting anywhere, and they need to think about you when they want to enter their kitchen, when they want to entertain, when they want to eat something, or when they go to a nutritionist and the nutritionist tells them that you need to fix this. We need to come up at top. Also, fundamentally, I believe the way brands are built has changed in the country because you no longer have one dominant media that's present. So of course, it is something similar in a newer avatar, but fundamentally, the entire market around you on how to build a brand has changed. So in that sense, it's different.
Okay, we'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
Let me get Aakriti in as well. And Aakriti, I don't know how many of you know, was recently on, not
Last
that
year.
recently,
Last
last year was on Shark Tank as well. And she did get funded. In fact, you chose which of the sharks you wanted.
Yeah, and I
Right?
was lucky to choose.
So tell us about that, and what was it about your brand that they loved?
Firstly, thank you so much for having me here amongst two leading ladies who are like honestly an inspiration to me also in my journey. I'm fairly new. I'm 3 years into my journey, and I hope I can add value with whatever little I've done. And to just give an introduction, I'm the co-founder of House of Chicken Curry. We deal in clothing which is embroidered with chicken curry, which is an art form that comes from villages around Lucknow. And we primarily deal in hand embroidered goods into everyday wear, similar to like a shirt that I'm wearing right now. So kurtas, shirts, more everyday wear. My mother is my co-founder, and both of us co-founded it 3 years back. We started from the basement of our home. She was a homemaker for 25 years before that, and she started the business at 47 with me, and I was 24 at the time. And yeah, it's been an amazing ride. We've been learning every day ever since. I don't know what made the sharks believe in us, but I think what I'd like to believe is my mom's goodness. I always give her the credit for that it's her, that we got lucky. And, because she was with me, that's how we got funded. But I think I'll just share how we started, because we started 3 years back. I wanted to be an entrepreneur ever since I was a kid. And I was a marketing major. I did my undergrad and master's in London. I did my master's in marketing. So all I knew was marketing. And I came back to India post my college. I worked with a fashion startup for about a year. And after that, I think COVID hit. And then I decided to leave my job and decided to focus on something I wanted to build, because I thought there was a lot of free time. Like, even though I was in a job, I just thought it's enough free time. I want to focus on probably researching what I can do or build. And the only thing I was confident about was Instagram and my Instagram skills. I didn't know anything else. I just knew I could build whatever I could do on Instagram, because that's what I thought I was good at. I understood what people want to see on the platform, and I just started finding a product to build and take it online through Instagram. I was researching for 6 to 7 to 8 months, and one fine day in COVID, like, my mom used to get her clothes embroidered from an embroider, and she mentioned that he wanted some extra income because he was really affected by COVID, and that's how the research on hand embroidery started, and I landed upon chicken curry, and it was like that eureka moment. I just thought that, why have I never thought of wearing chicken curry? Like, as a 24-year-old, why is it that always my mom or my grandmom or someone is telling me that you should buy chicken curry? Where do you get it? And then I saw that it was only available in unorganized stores. There was no organized format. And it just happened that I decided to choose that as a product. And my mother had a lot of knowledge about production, fabrics, out of passion. So she happened to be my co-founder. That's how the journey started. And it's been now 3 years. We're now a team of 100 plus people. Wow. And we're shipping more than 10,000 orders a month. And we're immensely growing now with the mentorship of the two investors that we now have. I think the last 1 year has been amazing personally and professionally, growth-wise, for both me and my mom. We've learned a lot. We've failed a lot. We've cried also a lot. But I think at the bottom of everything, after 1 year, when we look back, it's all gratefulness, and we hope to make deeper impact as we move forward.
There is so much more I want to ask all of them, so I don't know how to pack it all in, and I want to get some of your questions in too. But, I think talking about building a brand, talking about the online space, the mix of balancing online, offline, Pernia, give us your expertise and insights, because you're someone who's seen how this space has evolved in the last 10 years. What are the biggest challenges today? I think it's something that most D2C brands and even other young entrepreneurs are trying to figure out.
I think the one challenge today back then, 10, 12 years ago when I started, will always be is finding good human capital, honestly. Like, I think over the years, when I was building Pernia's pop-up shop, my biggest challenge was getting the right team. And now, even now, when I consult other businesses, when I'm starting, like I just said, I started my own podcast, getting the right people to work with you is just honestly going to make your business as successful or not successful, because you cannot do everything alone. Even though I'm quite a control freak, I will get into everything, look into everything. I didn't allow, when I started Pernia's Pop-Up Shop, for any customer email to go without BCC me for a very long time. I was in every email. So imagine how many emails I had every day, because every email to every customer I was marked like BCC. So it's just getting the right team and training them is, I think, the biggest challenge. And honestly, like, what ended up happening was that I became a training center where eventually everyone else wanted online businesses and they would just recruit from me. And I'm like, they should be fucking paying me for training their staff. But yeah, that's the biggest challenge. And I think no matter what you do and what field, that's always the biggest challenge.
So what I love about what each of them have said is how much time they've actually spent doing every single thing in their business themselves. I think that's already come out in the first 5 minutes.
If you don't do that, if you don't know every little nook and corner of what it takes to make your business, whatever it is, if it's a online shop, if it's a podcast, if it's a whatever, you can't manage and run it, because you can't tell somebody what they should and shouldn't be doing if you don't know how to do it yourself. Yeah. So I'm not an editor, but I sit on every minute of every edit, and I go sometimes 5-10 times back and forth on edits on my podcast, because I'm not an editor, but I do it because you have to learn every single part of the job. I think that's super important. Yeah.
So Avni, when you're talking about creating the brand presence now, it's a market that already has a lot of competition at this stage.
I don't know if it has competition. So I will humbly say that I don't fundamentally believe there's competition, and I can go out on a limb and say that I actually think there's no substitute for hard work, like Pernia said. And I know that me and my team work a lot harder than anybody out there. So actually, that's what gives me confidence to sleep at night, being like, I don't think there's competition. I think there's a lot of mimicry of what we've done in the past, if I may say so, but there's no competition. I think we compete. I think for me, there's a lot of competition in every space that I am at. So like for my bakery, there are like 30 other bakers who are doing something better than me, so it keeps me up at night. If I think about like fruits and vegetables, there may be, just today I was researching and I found somebody who's growing tomatoes and sent out a tomato box, and I was like, why didn't we think of it? So I do think that there is competition in the, like, I like to break down my business and look at it, at a unit level or at a category level, and in that I believe that there's competition. But as a whole and as an offering, I wouldn't go to say that, there is competition. There are people doing similar categories, yes, but what we've set out to do, which will emerge in the next 2 to 3 years, hopefully, will be very different. And, I also think we want to go about building it very differently. So in that sense, I don't think there's competition. But that's not to say that there are not enough people in the space doing interesting things.
Of course.
Yeah.
So you've opened in Ambience Mall.
Yeah, so we're opening in Vasant Kunj, and then we go to Bangalore and Hyderabad, which I'm very excited about. Hyderabad's a new market for us. I've never run a business in Hyderabad, so very excited. And then we're doing Gurgaon with her at Silver Glades, and then we do Bombay last. So so that's the plan. Bombay last this time. So that's the plan between this financial year. Okay. So by March, FY25, hopefully if all our landlords cooperate, we will be at 5 stores.
5 stores, and that's amazing. That's very, very rapid growth this year, so all the best.
Thank you.
On that. And Aakriti, what are your plans now going forward? Now you're on this treadmill. There's no getting off. So like Pernia, do you have a timeline in terms of what you want?
Honestly, when I started also, my mother and we didn't know this would happen to us in 3 years. So everything that we're experiencing is so organic. I think we are lucky in that sense. We're very grateful for that we started and we got that initial traction within the first month. Like, we were forced to do most of the things we didn't plan to do in the business. Like, we were forced to launch a website because the orders were like manually getting too much. Like, I was doing it manually myself. So it got to a point where I had to venture into it. I was forced to launch international because I was getting the traction. So in that sense, I think we've been very privileged that what we set out to do got the traction what we expected, and even more, in fact, right? And then after Shark Tank, I think everything just changed. Like everything just changed overnight, because more than the visibility, like I think the brand love, the trust, you got that one thappa that, now that, okay, this brand that people don't know about, all of a sudden overnight, so many crores of people just know that you exist. So that sort of validation overnight just changed us internally, like, our whatever we were doing and what we set out to do. And I think the love we received from people who were already shopping from us or who were going to shop from us was amazing, but it came with its own set of challenges. Imagine being overnight put 2 years ahead where you imagine, or 3 years ahead where you imagine yourself to be, the kind of challenges that brings, like, I don't think I've slept properly since that night, right? And I don't have any regrets. Like, I'm still very grateful, but I'm just saying that, if you're put 3 years ahead, that is also a privilege, but it comes with its own set of challenges. So I don't like to plan. My mom also, she's so not planning at all. She says, just calm down and do what you want at your own pace, because for her, it's more about the impact. She's very attached to our team. She's very attached to the artisans. And I think she is more about the impact. Right? Like, I was always the more business side. Mom was more the impact side of the business, that I want to do it to help people. Like, she was already volunteering in her life before she set out to do the business with me. And this gave her a bigger purpose, right? So that she can help people. So I think right now the plan is to obviously understand how we can fix our processes, build the right team. I think what you guys said about the team, and that's exactly where I'm at. And what I understand, that team is my prime focus this year. And I'm literally just taking 10 interviews a day, because I need to see the people I can trust to build it with. I need that support, and I've realized that I can't do everything myself, like you said. It's a very hard lesson I've learned by trying to do everything. We, mom and I, were doing everything ourselves. Yeah. And to let go, I think, after 2-3 years of whatever mini success or mini validation that you get, the hardest part is letting go. How do you let go? That's been my toughest challenge. That, okay, how do I not look at this anymore? Like you said, the emails. So I could relate so much, because, like, so many times, like, I think to myself that, okay, just stop, like, just let them do it, right? Like, but it's so hard. It doesn't come easy, because you've built it yourself and you just want to do everything yourself.
So sweet, yeah.
But letting go is a part of growth. You have to let go to grow, is what my lesson has been last 6 months. So I'm focusing on that how do I prepare myself to let go?
Okay. Well, I'm going to take some questions from you guys as well, so raise your hands whenever. Okay, already lots of questions. Neat, why don't you go first?
Yeah. Okay. I understand all of you have been, Pernia, of course, is a brand so-called herself. So my question is somewhat almost like, how crucial is it for a founder to build their own brand that would drive their business to success? And how are you doing it in your own space?
Pernia.
I mean, I don't know. You should tell me, because I struggle with it. So
I don't think that can be a strategy, honestly. I think if who you are intrinsically and who you are as a personality gets you attention or your brand attention, then that's great. But I think if you fake it, eventually it will catch on. I know founders of brands who have spent really, which is really messed up actually, who have spent a lot of investor money, like paying for PR on themselves, personal PR. Because most of what you read in your articles and newspapers and online, it's all paid, right? Like I don't read the news anymore because everything is paid. Tomorrow you want to pay someone something to write anything about you, they will write it as long as I pay them what they want. It's so sad, right? So I really believe that as a founder, you can build your brand, yes, organically, and it should be you, because that's the only way it's going to work.
But I do want to add one thing. I mean, I think what Pernia said is very true, because people see through if it's not authentic. But like today when I was building out Food Stories, and the reason I asked you is, because a lot of people have told me you should put yourself there up front and center. But it's also something I don't inherently feel comfortable with at all. But there is a new audience out there that wants to know who the founder is behind the brand. And a lot of people relate to buying your product when they know, you know who you are, what you stand for, and all sorts of things. So I also think, so going by her advice, I think it has to be, looked at from two lenses. One is the lens that, does the business really need it? And to what level can it drive sales? To what level can it be, can it be beneficial to your business? I know for myself that, I don't put my face out there, all the time, or my team's always telling me we need to show more of you, but I don't feel comfortable. But I'm always there. I'm always there to pick up a customer's call. I'm always there to pick up a complaint. I'm always there at the store, like fixing the displays, and like I'm just always there. So I also think customers see through that. So today you don't, like, Pernia said that she was BCC'd on every email. I think there's a difference in being a founder-led brand and being a founder, being a brand with a founder as a face of it. So I think we need to distinguish between the two.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
that's what founder-led brand. So the front Pernia, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna hop to the next question. There was
Hi, Aakriti, I wanted to ask you, who is your shark and did he actually mentor you and did it help and how much did it help?
So we have two investors, Aman from Boat and Piyush from Lenskart. And honestly, I've heard a lot of stories about controversies and stuff, but I've not experienced any. I had a very smooth ride getting them on board. They were very excited to have us on board. Everything we had to go through a due diligence and everything. And post that, like, our journey has been amazing. Honestly, whatever I've learned, they're pretty involved. Like, they're a call away, a message away, and I think that's more than anything I could ask for. If people who've built such successful brands can be available, and more than them, I obviously, like, if I need them, I can always call them. But I choose not to. I'm more involved with their teams who are working regularly with us. So the teams are involved on a weekly, bi-weekly, I would say bi-monthly scenario, and it's honestly everything I've learned last 1 year thanks to them. They connect me to people who can guide me, I can learn from. If I'm stuck at something that I've never done before, I can just go and tell them, and I'm also the kind of person who's very honest. Like, I'm very vulnerable. I'll be very honest that I don't know this. So you connect me to someone and I'll learn. But I don't try to show that I know everything. So I'm very like that. I've also taken whatever I could because I had so much to learn. I was just beginning. So, like, I think in that sense, they've been, like, really helpful, and whatever I needed, I've pretty much got everything.
Pernia, for you, if you had to give the entrepreneurs in the room here, any pearls of wisdom, advice from your journey, insights, what would it be?
I don't know.
Are you at that phase in life where you're happy to? Okay.
No,
well,
I think I can just like, there's no substitute to hard work. That's an obvious one. But I think I can say this: you really, really must do what you are really, really interested in. I don't think success, the kind of success that can come if you truly, like, are excited and interested, and it keeps you, like, you don't mind, like staying up a little bit, half an hour extra because I want to research this because this is really exciting to me. Like, it has to make you excited, whatever you do. That's, I think, also there's no substitute to that, because if somebody is passionate and they're hardworking, I really, like, don't see them, like, failing. Those two things, yeah.
all of you are in a business where you have to deal with customers and ensure, customer loyalty, retention, service, that it has to be as perfect as possible all the time, immediate callbacks, etc. In that process, what is the most difficult part of it? Are there processes that you follow to ensure at such large scale that, to the best possible at least, that customers are well looked after? How do you set that policy, that culture in your businesses?
I think it's an ongoing effort. I can't say that we're great or somebody else is great. I think ultimately this is really where humans come in, and it's a slippery slope. It's something you have to do every day. But I think the culture has to be that. So for my sister and I, we always said, with Food Stories, we want to build a very high-touch business. We want to build a business which is extremely personalized, which caters to a certain audience, and they demand, a certain level of service. So I think we're trying very hard to instill it in the culture of each and every individual that works with us, that, this is who your customer is and this is what they expect. And I don't think that we have the formula or we have it right today. I think it's something that you need to wake up every morning and remind yourself again, because and every time there is a mess up, you need to find a way to solve for it. Obviously, you write scripts and you write down scenarios, and we've all done that, especially before you start out. It's very easy. Also needs to be a level of empathy that like every team member of yours, including yourself, need to just have. And I also just think it goes down to the sauce, and it goes down to the fact that, is that the DNA of your organization or not? And for us, customer centricity is extremely important. So that is something that we think about very meaningfully every day. And it's not important for every customer business. So I also think it depends on the kind of business somebody wants to run, and the values they define for themselves.
You're also
I wanted to add something to this. I think, as far as I'm concerned, I believe that when you are caring for customers, customer care, you have to have zero arrogance. And I think no matter if they're buying something for 5,000 rupees or for 5 lakhs, they are as important. And this kind of ecosystem needs to be established in your organization. And I think the moment a customer, listen, any normal business is run by humans. There are going to be mistakes. It's okay. But a customer who calls you really angry and upset, the moment they realize that you are not arrogant at all, it could be even their fault, but you're patient and you deal with them with a certain amount of empathy, like she said, they will immediately calm down, and they will shop with you again. Till today, I get DMs on my Instagram. So it goes into a folder, which if I don't follow you, it goes into a folder where I don't see them. So once in a while, I'll open that folder, and there's so many complaints again. And I have to, and I'm like, I can just let it be.
Yeah.
I can just let it go. It's fine, because I've sold the business. But I still open them, and I respond to each person, and I say, I'm really sorry to hear about what you're going through, but actually I am no longer a part of the organization. And I give my little explanation, and I just say, like, hope it works out for you, because whatever it is, my name is still on it. And even though press releases have gone out about the business sale, blah, blah, I don't expect everyone to go read it. And I don't want to be so arrogant to be like, not my problem. It is something I founded. So it will always be my problem in a way, if you think about it, right? So I think zero arrogance is the way to go for me.
Yeah. No, absolutely. What about you, Aakriti?
Yeah, I think when it comes to like handling all these queries where we're at fault, or maybe there's a misunderstanding, definitely what both of them have said is something that we can all learn from, and that's exactly what we also try to do. But I also feel that in terms of the overall customer experience, what we've tried to do is we listen, right? And I feel a lot of people say customer is king, but who is actually listening, right? Every comment, like, I'm very invested in. Like, one negative comment, I'm like in depth. Why? Like, how? What experience? What went wrong? So each product, one stitch, one like label here and there, like, I look at each and every review, and I look at what the product was. I make sure that the team calls and understands how can we do it better. And we have this like monthly thing where we do it regularly, and we make sure whatever's done is never repeated from our end again. That's what we do, like, to do better, like, in the future, right? But obviously, like, ongoing queries is something that is a new challenge every day, right? Absolutely. We have to learn from that, but I feel listening is really important, and a lot of people out there are putting out these videos and telling you to listen, but I don't know who actually is, because it's not easy. Like, there's so many reviews, so many comments, and to go in depth of each product, each SKU, each size. Is size chart mein what went wrong, right? What did we do wrong? How can we go and fix it? Who was at fault? Where did we go wrong? Which department did it that happened because of? So I think all that is also an ongoing process, because one thing we'll fix and the next day there'll be another problem. But continuous listening is, I think, what has helped us.
Right. Yeah, go for it.
Like, we talk about customer service right now, and we see a lot of AI coming in the market right now. So do you have any advice for us? Like, even I have my own wholesale brand. What is the right balance? Like, technology should also be used moving with the time.
100%.
But also, like, when we talk about high-touch business, is there some kind of advice you would like to tell us that these are the things probably you should automate or use technology, and these are the things we still need to balance by using humans?
So I can tell you what we've done. I believe that like the initial query and the sorting of the query can, maybe AI can help you out with it. Or so like if you have an inbound request for like pants or shorts or skirts, and like I don't know what business you're in, but I'm just using fashion as an example. And maybe if someone, if you have a separate team looking for it, AI can really help you, like AI can really help automate all of those queries for you, sort it out, so that when your team needs to get involved, the people who need to get involved for the right kind of thing are getting involved. I think that's one place AI can play a great role. I think AI can play a very interesting role in the post-transaction journey. And quick commerce firms are teaching us how to do this really well, because a lot of it is AI so today, and Swiggy Zomato have spoiled us, right? Because when your order was received, when your order was packed, where your delivery guy is, when it's leaving, and unfortunately, everything is now 10 minutes, 20 minutes. So I think that, a lot of AI can be used to do those tools, like to do the shipping, and, constantly keep your customer aware of, where it is, because sometimes, there's also just solace in knowing, okay, it's here. And, like, as a customer, I feel that. But I feel that anytime there's a grievance, and this is me as a customer, this is not me as a business owner, I feel I want to talk to a human.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
sometimes when we want to, they say
Yeah.
contact us. Like
Yeah.
many new
Yeah.
brands, they say contact us, but it's a AI chatbot. And
Yeah.
you can't really contact
Yeah.
them, which really becomes
Yeah.
very frustrating.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just my 2 cents on it, but more as a customer and the way I would approach my business, not otherwise. But, I also think that we've used AI a lot now for photography, for mood boards, for, like doing, being able to churn out certain quantum of material that any D2C brand needs, because it's crazy, the quantum required each week for ads and copies and things like that. So, yeah, for market research. So I actually think that there's a lot of application of AI there as well, where, all of us, me included, we need to become better, better equipped to, like, learn to use it ourselves, as well as train our teams too.
I was just going to say, it's just a matter of levels, especially if it comes for like customer queries. The first couple of levels where human interaction is not needed, they may be asking very simple questions. And not everybody is the smartest, right? So they will ask something which is very basic, which will be right in front of their eyes and they can't see it. So it's okay it has to be in levels, and then it has to come to a level where A, B, C didn't help. So now you can talk to
Customer service.
like a person, a real person,
Let's get another question.
Yeah. Hi. So actually, I wanted to ask you, Pernia, this question, that when you were starting off, when you started an e-commerce platform with Pernia, and people in India were not even aware of it. First of all, how did you create that awareness, and what kind of a like what kind of a marketing budget was involved in it that you could get yourself up all the time? I mean, what were the strategies that you use to get yourself out there initially in the initial phase?
So we had no marketing budget. Marketing budget was as less as possible to zero. So that was the marketing budget. It was a completely like a business that was, started with 3 people, again, in a basement in Def Call. So yeah, we relied heavily upon social media. Facebook was big. We had a Facebook page. Instagram was just coming up, becoming big. And luckily, with me and the team of like the super young people I hired, it was a young team, right? So we were all very social media savvy, and we were very excited about how we can use social media as a tool. We had emailers, we had like Facebook status updates every day, maybe a few times a day. We had obviously we had posts. We used every trend, like all these cool trends that would come, like of videos and all. We would make one in the office, and I don't know, it just became viral. A lot of our content, actually, without us putting money behind it, people started sharing with each other. Because in India at that time, nobody was making cool content in fashion, for sure, right? So it was one of the first like offices or organizations to make really cool fashion content. So I think people were sending it to each other. It became quite viral, the stuff we would do. I mean, now sometimes I see like videos of myself on YouTube, from like 10 years ago. I'm like, what nonsense am I doing? But like at that time, whatever nonsense I was doing, I was really enjoying it, making a complete fool out of myself. But like people were loving it and they were sending it to each other. And I think with luxury fashion, at least, it can't be a hard sell. I cannot put something up or send you something, buy this dress, buy this dress, buy this dress. It has to be like indirect, right? You have to be doing something cool. You have to be cool. You have to put it on someone cool. It has to be indirectly. People have to want it, right? So that's the whole idea. So I think in terms of marketing, that's what happened. We had a banner up for Pernia's pop-up shop. And remember High Heel Confidential? I don't know if you guys remember. Now Instagram, no one needs High Heel Confidential. But at that time, everyone would log on to the website to see who wore what. So the first thing they would see, that's the one place I spend money. Because my banner was the first thing you would see when because I'm like, who is the girl who's opening High Heel Confidential? She's my client. Like literally. So in a few strategic places like this, I put money, but on the most part, it was completely organic. And I really spent very little money on digital marketing, like on Google ads and stuff, for a couple of reasons. Because I didn't understand it too well, and it was all very too new in India, so I didn't want to spend money that I didn't feel comfortable. And secondly, I felt my money evaporate. I'm like, where did it go? Like it was a black hole. There was no, and even now, it's very difficult to tell, but back then, back then there was no explanation as to where your money went. Where your money went, no one knew. Yeah, so it was a lot of that, yeah.
How long did it take for the pivot point? I think everyone remembers.
I think honestly, it was quite quick. I mean, we became quite popular. Like, our following became quite popular quite soon. And that's the thing. People were following us just to watch content first. Then they were like, oh, the stuff is pretty nice. Let me buy something small. Then 2 years later, that same customer was buying for lakhs from me. We got them comfortable slowly through great content. I think it took about a year to get really good traction. But within a year, I felt like people really knew about Pernia's Pop Shop. A year is very less.
That's what.
Yeah, it's very less. It's very less. I would say at least in like the circles of girls who who would shop online, who knew about online shopping, it picked up quite quickly. And that time, Myntra and Flipkart were advertising a lot on TV of just the concept of online shopping. Flipkart and Myntra had just launched, and they were advertising heavily on TV of what online shopping is, because they were teaching the Indian client ki ye hai kya. You open your computer, you log on. It's true. They were teaching people, because in India it was not normal. Not everybody goes to study abroad. They didn't know. So if anybody used to call me, it's like, हाँ कैसे खरीदें? I said, आपने वो Flipkart का ad देखा है ना? तो उसमें ऐसे करते. No, I would say this to clients. Like वो ad में ऐसे करते हैं ना, वो Myntra के ad में आप वैसे ही डालो, लेकिन आप PER ऐसे डालो. That's what I would refer to those ads. Yeah.
That's brilliant. See, I love these stories. You don't know these stories from the beginning. Anyone else want to jump in with a question? We have loads of time. Not loads of time, actually. We're almost out of time. Okay,
8:35.
I wanted to ask you guys as we wind up, and then we can sort of just continue to network after. Obviously, I love the fact that all of you have talked about sleepless nights. All of you have so much passion, and I love that, because I think that we often see women entrepreneurs who are very apologetic about wanting to go out there and do what they want to do. So I think we do. Avni's like, where do you see this?
I think women are so excited today to be out and about.
This is refreshing. This is refreshing to see an entire panel of women who cannot think of nothing else but kind of going out there and creating their dream project. So I think it's super to see that. I would just love a closing comment from each of you. I know you've got a busy year coming up, but in terms of just what's exciting you the most, or something personal you want to add in terms of how you balance it with your other things that excite you in your personal life, but anything you want to leave us with today?
No, I think I also think that I've been given the chance to create again, and I had a journey for 11 years, and then I'm creating again. So for me, the only thing I can ever tell anybody is, I was raised to always work. I was raised by parents who would be very crestfallen one day if I told them that I didn't want to work. And I also think that today when you go out there and you see so many women doing wonderful things, and there are tons of women doing very inspirational stuff, I think platforms like this are great because they really uplift women, and they create a platform for us to learn, for us to share, for us to cry, for us to lean on. So I think that's I think things like this are very rewarding, and maybe they were not even there 10 years, 12 years ago. But that being said, fundamentally, a lot of women are always taught that, you can't have it all, or, like a lot of times women are told, oh, you're having a child, take a back seat, do this, do that. I think I've had extreme privilege of never having had to make these choices in my life, and I can only just hope and wish that we keep on creating an environment for more women to have these privileges.
I agree, absolutely. And you are inspiring a lot of
No, but I would, and I think a lot of women are inspiring each other. So I actually think it starts with us. For me, it started with my mother, and to a very large extent with my mother-in-law after I got married. So I think women need to, look out for other women in that sense.
I'm going to share something very personal, which I think is really important. So, as women, I mean, because my parents know Avni's family, I can speak for us. It's very different for us if you come from the privilege of having a certain education and a certain XYZ. But a lot of women don't have that. For a lot of women, they may come from very affluent families, but they're very conservative families and they're not allowed to work. And everybody has a different story, right? So for a lot of women, and I can say, for example, being like a minority, right? You have extra amount of struggle, whether it's here or whether it's in the US or the UK where your community is looked down upon for whatever reason. So a lot of women, for various reasons, have a lot of challenges in India and outside of India already. So for me, it's really heartbreaking, actually. I was involved in a business recently, and like a woman entrepreneur I was working with, and I thought she was, extremely, not thought, she is intelligent, and I thought that, this would be a good relationship, committed fraud with me. And it actually, honestly broke my heart to have to file a complaint in the economic wing of the police station of where we were situated. It broke my heart, but obviously I'm going to take whatever recourse I have to, right? Because as a citizen or as just a person, I'm not supposed to be taking this, obviously, from anyone. But it broke my heart because I was like, I know how tough it is to be a woman, to start a business or to do something, and I didn't want to do it, but at the same time, it's like, I'm not going to let anyone get away with this either. So my advice would honestly be that it's not good enough just to be a woman. You need to be a person with ethics, or with like a person who is easy and good to work with, a person who can be relied upon, because it's really important to support other women and uplift other women. And I've always done that, and I focus on that. I'm a big fan of women, but you can't do that if a woman doesn't have the basics. So just playing a woman card is not good enough, right? Or just playing a card that you're from my community and that's good. No, all these things are not good enough. They are important, and I would definitely want to have empathy for somebody who's had who belong in these categories. But at the same time, you need to honestly still have everything else, which is good business ethics, empathy, respect for your team. All those things are as important. So it's really important to uplift other women, but it's important to be a woman who's worth uplifting. So I think that's really important. Like, just playing the woman card is not good enough, So that's something I've learned recently, and I think I just wanted to share this. It's really important.
No, I
Yeah.
think we can agree that it's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone does agree.
Yeah.
It's
And
important
you
to
would
call it
think
out.
it's a given,
Yeah.
but it's really not,
It's not.
sadly,
It's not.
Yeah.
Actually, we had a small experience along those lines.
Yeah.
And it is necessary, I think, for everyone to appreciate that everyone's trying to bring something to the table and to respect that. Aakriti?
So I'd just like to say that I think my journey is 3 years old, and when I think why I really wanted to be an entrepreneur, honestly, ever since I was a kid, I sometimes try to think and rationalize why, right? And I think a large part of it comes because my mom was a homemaker. And she was a happy homemaker, right? She had left her job when I was 3, 4, and then my brother happened, I happened, and she just got too busy with family and life. She never got back. But growing up, all those years, I saw her longing to find that missed identity. And that I think got so stuck in me that I wanted to make my identity so bad. So I always like rationalize it, and I think and it came back to her, right? She wanted it, and she tried a couple of things. She tried painting, she tried volunteering, like she was just trying to find her purpose back, and she was trying to figure out some way to make herself happy, and it was not monetary. It was not at all monetary at all. And I think life just happened that somehow we both ended up, on our journeys together, and she became my co-founder, and I have never seen her happier. And I think that's where my motivation comes from, and that's where like I try to keep up, and it's really not monetary. Like I've seen it with my mom. Even today she tells me, I don't care about the sales, what sales you're doing. And then her and I, we'll have this argument. I was like, how can you not care about the sales? She's like, all I care about is the impact I'm making, right? And my purpose. What is my purpose in life? So I feel that it's important for all women to find that purpose. It may or may not be financial. Yeah. You may not want to go out and earn money. You may want to, and you may want to really be a billionaire, and you should. But you may also just want to do what you want to do, but it's important to find it for yourself. Like, don't shut those dreams. Like, I've seen my mother like really struggle to find it, and now I get so happy, and everyone in the family, like, now pushes her to go to work. Like, my dad is like, she's leaving before my dad. She's reaching the office before dad. So, like, for us, last 2 years have been, like, really amazing in that sense. So, I feel that is something that no woman should ever shut. And on the other hand, I feel platforms like Shark Tank today are so inspirational. Like, I watch it, I have been watching it, and I've seen the whole season 3 this time, and the kind of startups, the kind of women entrepreneurs coming out from cities you would never imagine, right? I think this is the time to be building businesses in India. I consider myself, again, privileged that I'm an entrepreneur when this wave is currently going on, because there's so much help available from the government, from the network, from the D2C community. Today you message a founder on LinkedIn, they're willing to answer. They're willing to talk. Like, you'll ask them, oh, what should I do? I'm stuck with this. I saw your brand is using this software. And people are answering to emails, people are answering to LinkedIn messages, and this was not the case because there was no community before. Now there's this huge community available around us of women entrepreneurs, of entrepreneurs in general, who are willing to uplift each other and help whoever is starting out. And I think that's the most beautiful part of building a business in India right now.
Thank you so much, ladies.
I just want to add this. I read a quote yesterday on Instagram, which I mean, even I was like, yes. It said that if you could get a guarantee, if it's guaranteed, what you would do would be a success. If it's 100% guarantee, what would you do? What would you do? Think about it. Whatever that comes to your mind, you should do it. Do it anyway. What's the worst that can happen? It won't work out, but it's not working out anyway since you're sitting here not doing it, right? And I actually thought about that because there's still things left that I want to do,
They say that what holds women back more than men is the fear of failure.
Yeah, for sure.
So they're far more contemplative of the risk involved in our nature. But thank you so much, all of you, for joining us today. You're all super inspirational, and we're just really happy that you could make the time and join us. And I'm very excited to see how all your stories play out. I'm sure you're going to surprise us. We're loving the podcast with food stories. We're going to visit soon. And of course, House of Shinkari, with all of its fabulous products, is already quite a range. So can we give them a big round of applause? Thank you so much. Thank you.
Everything's for you.
Yeah. That's a nice thing.